All right, thanks very much, Palesa. Yes, still coming to you live from Hout Bay here this morning and focusing on issues that are affecting so many here in the Western Cape. And, you know, they just are so many. We'd love to get to the bottom of every single one of them, but that's almost impossible. And I think one of the big things really is housing, and so many people wanting to come on, talk about their grievances with housing and the lack of land in order to build this housing, and the amount of people that are in desperate need of proper facilities. So that's just one thing, which of course leads to very difficult lifestyles when it comes to drug abuse, when it comes to gangsterism, and you name it. These are just some of those social issues we talk about. But let's talk about also something that we touched on at the beginning of the program, and we promised that we would carry on talking about, and that is the plight of the small-scale fishermen. Now, we did speak to Craig Smith a bit earlier. He's from the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. He's joining us again. And then, of course, Pedro is from the union representing the small-scale fishermen here in the Western Cape. So let's sort of get a little bit of the confusion out of the way, because when I chatted to you, it sounded pretty much so like an easy process. But from Pedro's point of view, this is not the situation. Let's firstly talk about what are your issues as a small-scale fisherman. What are they?
Look, the issues primarily is that we feel that there's an expectation that's being created now once again. And in impoverished communities, to create such expectations and not being able to deliver on it, I don't think there's anything more devastating than that. Quite honestly, given the state of our resources, the degree of illegal fishing that's taking place at the moment, we're concerned as to where the resources are coming from. That's going to go into the small-scale policy. Secondly, is the resource that's going to be issued to our people, is it going to make economic sense to them? Because if not, we're going to distribute poverty once again. And when is the minister going to make the announcement regarding the split of the resources between the various sectors? And then last but definitely not least, we need to redress a lot of the issues of the past, and that includes the huge allocations that are going to big companies who are sitting back. They have become the audience and watching the small-scale fishers and the small-scale commercial fishers battling it out with each other. Now, in the meantime, they're sitting there, they're oversubscribed. We know they are oversubscribed, but government hasn't moved fast enough to rectify those issues.
All right. Okay, so now you're hearing it from them. Now, from the department's point of view?
I think Pedro is quite correct when he says that the resources are limited, and that is a fundamental fact in terms of fisheries management. How are we going to apportion the resources between small-scale fishery sector and the commercial fishery sector? So that is something that the minister would have to make a pronouncement on, and would have to do that at sometime soon, so that people in the small-scale sector can feel that there is adequate resources that's going to be made available for them. The issue with regard to the process itself, in terms of the registration process, that has been pretty straightforward for the fishers in order to register, although the actual process to implement the rights is quite a lengthy one. But that's the prerogative of the department to run that process. So I think overall, there's still many challenges that we'll face as the department in terms of bringing in a new sector. But for now, the process in terms of registration has gone pretty well for communities from the Northern Cape right through to KwaZulu-Natal.
I mean, is that the experience that you're hearing about from a lot of the fishermen? I mean, do you know of many that have applied, that it's been successful and it's working for them?
No. The application process is still running now at the moment. That's the registration process that Craig is talking about. So it's all part of the implementation plan for the small-scale policy. Now, we're not objecting, or we're not opposed to the small-scale policy per se. We're not even opposed to the cooperative system that's included in that policy. What we are saying is that it has to happen in an environment that makes sense. In South Africa, too often, we have to come to the realization that transformation cannot be fast-tracked. The problem with that is that we're dealing with a situation 20 years into a new dispensation, and it's more regress than progress. So we need to move forward cohesively. We need to look at alternatives. We need to release a lot of pressure on the resources that we currently have. So it's not just about addressing the issues, but it's also coming up with sustainable solutions. Because if you look at how infrastructure and how a society structures are collapsing due to drug and substance abuse, a direct result of abject poverty, then we need to deal with these issues head on. But we need to come up with solutions as well. And I believe the department is doing the level best to address these issues. But the bottom line is that it might be a bit a case of too little, too late.
Yeah.
So we need to move fast, but we need to move forward sensibly and in a way that makes economic sense to our people. It's about economic viability of the rights that's going to be allocated to the small-scale fishers. If that doesn't make any economic sense, then we're going to sit with huge problems in the future.
Well, I mean, that's exactly. I mean, I think you're making a very good point. But in terms of getting together and in terms of working together to rectify the situation, does that happen? Do you come together with the unions and the small fishermen to discuss their plight?
I think there's been a large amount of consultation, collaboration that has happened between the departments and small-scale fishers and various associations, including Pedro's union. And I think it's basically been gearing up in terms of making small-scale fisheries a reality in terms of implementation. So that has been the focus of the discussions that have happened thus far. But the discussions are at this point nowhere near over, because it's bringing in new sectors. It will have its hiccups, its warts and all. And we would have to kind of problem solve on our feet as we move through this new sector. And that will mean that we'll have to work closely with the fishers that are in the sector, as opposed to from a top-down approach saying that this is what government wants. It's going to be a matter of co-management. It's going to be a matter of where the communities feel that they've got some level of ownership of the resource and a stake in the resource, and will be able to give some inputs in terms of how that resource will be managed. And I think from that point we can take the communities forward in terms of feeling that there's something that they can be proud about and that they have ownership of, and they can work with government, as opposed to this antagonistic relationship which kind of characterized our relationships in the past.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining us. We wish you all the best going forward. We really do. These are just some of the issues, talking about the plight of the small-scale fishermen. Pedro representing the fishermen from the union's point of view, and also Craig Smith from the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. But it's almost time for us to say goodbye here on the program. It's been wonderful being with you, but we've actually got a poet for you this morning. So I'm trying to find out where our poet is, and we'll be able to... Oh, he's over there. So he's on that side over there. I'm going to introduce you to him, and I'm actually just going to let him take this away.
We are slaves to temptation, prey to deception, victims of fabrication, chained in fornication. When Lucifer calls, we stumble and fall, forgetting that he comes in any shape or form. What we've got is our hopes and dreams on bended knees, hoping we can crawl till we can walk and stand up tall, hold the Creator's hand, so that never again shall we ever fall. Strange is the change you see when you wave money in a person's face. All thoughts and all reasoning goes on vacation to a faraway, distant place. God in heaven, have mercy, shower us with thy heavenly grace, for we like meteors, lost souls wandering around in space, and the devil has us bound in chains which we flaunt around our bodies, that you swear it was a necklace. Clear our minds, purify our hearts, and cleanse our sight, so we may begin to see that money is not honey. So let's not follow it like bees.
All right, there's some poetry for you here. We're now focusing on some fashion as well. And with us this morning, we've got 31-year-old Hlanganiso Nkunzi. He's 31, as I said, launched his street-style fashion label in the Western Cape. His brand is called Moss Wear. It's grown to become one of the most sought-after South African labels, with lots of personalities and even government officials actually wearing it. I got to hear which government official is wearing this, because this will funk up Parliament quite a bit.
well, we have the Minister of Home Affairs, Malusi Gigaba, and his wife, and a Member of Parliament, Thandi, who have been supporting us from the word go.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're one of our best dressed parliamentarians, let's not kid. All right, so how did it all begin for you?
Well, it basically started by me wanting to put my thoughts onto a canvas, and the best way I could do it was to put it on clothes, because everybody reads clothes, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
That's basically how it all started.
That's brilliant. So it's that as simple as that? It couldn't have been that easy.
Well, it's been difficult, because in the beginning, I can't tell you how many times I've missed debit orders, and I've had call center agents call me demanding money because I've taken money and put it into the brand.
Yeah.
It's been hard, but with the support of my partner, KT, and we've worked really hard to try and push, and we've gathered support from the likes of KO, MEG, And currently, Ice Prince is also rocking one of our caps. So it's been a struggle, but it's been interesting.
An interesting struggle, but it's really bearing fruits right now. Because I mean, your clothing is also very much so aimed at the youth, and I mean the consciousness amongst the youth is a big issue, and you gather it here more and more and more, whether it comes to drugs, alcohol, gangsterism. Is there a message behind some of your clothing as well?
Well, we've come together or partnered with a group of Cape Town promoters and created a hub where youths can come and actually showcase their talents, and we're busy in the process of actually pushing to create a centralized location where we can actually draw or push the youth into something that's more positive and something that fosters their talent and something that builds their self-esteem. So it's really been interesting.
Are your clothes manufactured here in Cape Town, in South Africa?
Yes, everything we have right here is made within Cape Town. We work with 3 CMTs who also employ people from within the Cape Town ghettos or location or kasi, whatever you want to call it. So everything that you see here is made by people within the Western Cape.
That is great news, because I mean, you need we need more of this happening. So there's the clothing brand that you're seeing with our 3 beautiful models who are showing it off for us this morning. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you very much. Luckily, you're not wearing short mini skirts in this weather. Thank goodness you were kind enough to let them wear some tracksuits. Thank you.
Very much.
It's a pleasure. Well done. Well done on this. Hlanganiso Nkunzi, he's the creator of the brand Moss Wear. All right, you've got them here. They've been here all morning. The Kaapse Klopse, and there they are from the Republic of Hout Bay. That's what they like to call it. And this is where we wrap up our Western Cape election tour. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm. It's cold. We'll see you on Monday. Shap, shap.
Just to work on you.